Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new series for the Six Gamers YouTube channel, which I'm calling Just Dossing Around. What I'm going to be doing is going through all the old retro games that I used to play when I was a child. So, forgetting all the retro games that, everyone remembers, like Mario and Sonic and, all the big hitters like that. I'm going to be playing just the ones that I remember, the ones that I played when I was a kid. We're starting today with Apogee Software's 1991 hit Duke Nukem. That name may sound a little bit familiar. Yeah, Duke Nukem. Wasn't he involved in that game that was 3D? And then one that took forever. Well, yeah, it's the same Duke Nukem. This is his first appearance in the game, in the world of gaming. He's a little bit different. This is Duke Nukem as he was in the beginning. A pink-shirted Arnold Schwarzenegger Stallone rip-off. Hot off the 80s. Kind of like how in Grand Theft Auto, the series only really became the monster hit it was when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out on the PlayStation 2, after already actually having two fairly successful titles. Duke Nukem became really as big as everyone knows him to be, with Duke Nukem 3D. There's probably several reasons why. For one thing, Duke Nukem 3D came out on multiple platforms. It came out on the N64. I couldn't say for sure if it came out on the PlayStation, but certainly other Duke Nukem titles came out. So he was pretty big stuff that time. Duke Nukem 1 and Duke Nukem 2 really only came out on PC, on MS-DOS and Windows later, I believe. And back in the early 90s, there weren't really as many people using PCs every day for gaming. They were using them a lot more for, they were a home workstation, in the truest sense of the word. The idea of a gaming PC was just, I don't know, a little bit odd, I think. Now the sound effects you can hear, yeah, those tinny bleeps and boops, they would have come out of your PC speaker. Your PC has a little speaker in it, so that whenever it wants to scream at you because of an error or it crashes horribly, you can beep horribly into your ear. Well, for the longest time that was how the sound for games came out. That's why the games sounds as tinny and horrible as it is. So just to give you some context, I would have been 3 years old when this game first came out. I guess I would have played it when I was probably 4 or 5, probably on from that. I'm pretty young, we're talking here. I mean, the first computers we had at home, they didn't even have Windows. We're talking quite far back, and there's quite a few people who are watching this will not remember that time. The idea that there was a sort of a graphical user interface for the computer, rather than having to type commands, as you would have seen in the title screen. Yeah. That was how we used to live our days. That in those bygone age, you whippersnappers don't know what it was like before dial-up internet, before, your iPads and your iPhones. You get off my lawn. And while the computer was useful for work and all that, we had a vast amount of games. And what I'm going to be doing in this series is going through a lot of those games that I played, and a lot of them will be ones that you'll recognise. So for instance, I'll probably play Doom, and I'll probably play Duke Nukem, it's a familiar name. There'll also be a load of games that you may not recognise, and I'd like to sort of showcase them to you for a little bit, because a lot of them are forgotten classics, in my opinion. They were made by companies and people who nowadays are, big business. Apogee Software, who created this game and the sequel, for instance, if it's a name you don't recognise, you'll probably recognise the name they took later on, which is 3D Realms. When they created Duke Nukem 3D and they moved into 3D gaming, after the success of titles like Doom and then Quake, 3D was all the rage. And the sort of age of the 2D platform shooter, as we see here, sort of went out. But back in the day, this is the sort of thing we played. Seems like an arcane age, doesn't it? Seems like somewhere, sometime long forgotten. So I'd love to hear what you people think about the idea of the series. Now obviously, this is the first episode, I haven't really thought it through. I'd probably like to do a bit more research into the titles, talk about them a bit more fully. For instance, I did a sort of test bed version of this video, and I talked a bit about shareware at the start, and I decided that's probably a topic for a full video. Shareware was just the way that games like this were distributed. You know, it was basically almost analogous to what something like free-to-play is today. It was a way of marketing your video game indirectly, and raising capital. But for now we're just going to talk about Duke, because Duke was the man. And to be honest, he did really fall out of favour. He sort of overstayed his welcome. So Duke Nukem Forever, which some of you will remember was a bit of a running joke. It was sort of the precursor to the Half-Life 3 confirmed jokes. Duke Nukem Forever, which was announced I think about 1998 and finally made its appearance on our shelves last year, I think. They had a very long and protracted development cycle. To be honest, I think it should have stayed in development. I don't think they ever should have released it. The thing is about Duke, he was originally a pastiche of that sort of 80s action movie stereotype, the big muscled lunkhead. Think sort of Dolph Lundgren. All the guys who are now in the Expendables, you know. And when Duke Nukem Forever finally came out, that sort of character wasn't really, I guess, not so much in the public eye, and certainly not really appropriate, you know. You can't really dress it up. He was a bit of a pig, really. That was the ideal of men back then, but now times have changed. And the idea that you could try and release a game like that in this sort of time, he would always come across as dated, and I think that was a shame. And I really think they should have just canned it and not bothered with it. Because at that point, who really wanted it? The people who wanted it after the success, say, of Duke Nukem 3D, they'd grown up, you know. Those who were 18, so old enough to buy and play the original Duke Nukem 3D game at the time it was released, by the time Forever came out, they would have been in their 30s, they'd have had families and jobs, they'd have grown up. They wouldn't have been probably the immature lunkheads who would have thought something like Duke Nukem as a character was anything really edgy, I guess would be the term today. And so when he finally came out with Forever, he was already outdated, and I think that was a shame. I don't think Half-Life 3 should do the same thing, by the way. I'm not saying they shouldn't release Half-Life 3 just because it's taken too long. The fact is that Duke was a product of a different time. And trying to revitalise that time in the noughties just wasn't going to work in the 2010s. But that's enough Mortal Inless. Let's talk about this game. I like this game. I like Duke Nukem 1. This is the first episode. This is Shrapnel City. There were 3 episodes in total, Moonbase and another one that I can't remember the name of offhand. And basically the idea behind the game is you are Duke Nukem, internationally renowned guy who does stuff. And his arch nemesis, the robotic master, Dr. Proton, is threatening the world for reasons. Who cares? Go out and shoot things. What do you want a story for? And so you have to go through all these colourful levels with these delightful low-res graphics, taking down robots, shooting obstacles, and getting through to the end of a level. Now the levels are fairly big, there's quite a lot to explore, there's a lot of different routes you can go through, there's loads of different bonuses you can collect. For instance, you may have noticed there's been a load of security cameras around. Well, if you kill every single one of those in a level, you will gain some extra points at the end of the level. Various little bonuses like that. There are also the letters that make up Duke's name. Collecting all those will also give you a bonus, which I think I just did there actually. But generally the idea is to navigate your way to the end of the level. But you can collect points throughout the way and try and beat your high score. And at the end of the episode, you fight Dr. Proton, who flies around and shoots at you until you get to the end of the third episode and you win the game, essentially. Now, I only ever played episode 1 because it was the shareware model, but I have since gone back and played this and played through episodes 2 and 3. As I say, this is the shareware version. The reason I'm playing this episode is because it's the one I know best, so I'm sort of able to talk over it without really thinking too much about the game because I've played it through enough times. I mean, let me tell you, I was playing a lot of the games that we're going to cover in this series. I have completed multiple times because that was what I do. I get home from school, I would play these sort of games. Okay, I've collected there the computer chip. That will allow me to turn off the force field at the end of a level, but I still need to find the purple key. So, controls are quite simple. It's arrow keys left and right to move left and right, control to jump, and alt to fire. Now that was pretty much the standard sort of keyboard setup at the time. You know, some of you will probably have never used the alt key in your life unless you were really upset at your computer. Back in the day, it was fire. It was the fire button. Think of a NES controller. You have A and B was almost always fire, and A was almost always jump. And when a game came out that did something different to that, it would throw you. Yeah, well, back in the day, the idea of using a mouse to control character movement, you just didn't do that. You didn't need it. Here it's just pretty much that sort of arcadey style. 4 buttons. Left, right, move. Okay, so I've got the pink key there, and I have the computer chip, so I can just go ahead and finish the level. The reason I'm playing this game and doing this series, I think, is because we all have those games where we played them when we were younger, and as we've grown up and gaming has become more mainstream, we've either looked back at games we played with fondness, or we've looked back and gone to people, oh, did you ever play this? Did you ever play this? And then it turns out, no, you were the only one who ever played that. Like, for instance, if I mention the name Silent Bomber on PlayStation 1, there's probably a good number of you who've just gone, oh, yeah! Quite a few probably went, oh, yeah, that was awful. But also a lot of you who've just gone, I have no idea what that game is. But back in the early 90s, a lot of these games were just, you know, they were very rarely played because computers weren't as commonplace as they are today. Gaming wasn't quite as mainstream. If you were playing games in the early 90s, you were probably on the consoles. You know, you were on the NES or the Mega Drive or Master System. But I didn't really have a console until a PlayStation, so I played games like this. I got myself a firepower upgrade. So, a slight limitation in this game, and I don't know if there's anything to do with anything in particular. It's quite a weird bit of coding they've done here. So, Duke's firepower is listed on the right there, and you'll notice that I have 2 now, thanks to that power up. If I fire, I can have 2 bullets on the screen, but no more. I have to wait for the bullets to essentially travel off the screen for them to be able to fire another one. If I go up to a wall, I can basically rapid fire because it's not painting the other bullet. You can get up to 4 firepower, which means you can tear through enemies pretty quickly. Another power up. This is basically the level of power ups. I just got myself some long jump boots. So essentially, I now jump higher and longer. There's Dr. Proton, who is watching you. I always enjoyed the fact that as you moved, he followed you with his face. I always thought that was kind of clever. I was a very well-impressioned 6-year-old. Okay. Whoop. climb up here. Now with these long jump boots, occasionally when you jump you will do a flip, which is quite entertaining. You can see me sort of trying to do one there. Whoa, cool. And secret. Excellent. Okay. Just make sure I'm going to get all this stuff that I missed previously. Take out this thing. Break through. Woohoo! Oh, bugger. Screwed that up. Oh. Go through this trippy little maze. More balloon. I mean, you can see the points are racking up. I'm just too good at this game. I'm pretty much a pro. Pretty a pro. These fans will blow you back if you don't kill them, so you have to sort of shoot them to shut them up for a bit. Ooh. And exit level. There's no lives. When you die, and you end up back in these hub sections. This is the only place you can save your game. There's no saving during the levels. I remember this level. It's a bit of a maze. A lot of the levels were sort of mazes, but there were always places you could go and find that were sort of off the beaten path. So I'd be interested in the comments to hear from people who played this game, who remember it, or those who even own the full version. Or even if you have any suggestions for games you'd like to see me play. You know, I've already got a heck of a list set up of games I used to play that I'd love to show you guys. I'll also be telling you where to get the games, where they're available now. A lot of them unfortunately are either vapor or abandonware, so finding them is going to be a little bit tricky. But a lot of them, thankfully, thanks to... I suppose there's been a bit of a resurgence of older games nowadays, thanks to, you know, digital distribution like GOG and Steam, where you can basically just go, okay, here's the code to a game. That's, you know, and a lot of these games are really not that big in file size. You know, kilobytes, not even megabytes. And with that sort of interest in old bygone classics, and the fact that a lot of them don't run on modern PCs and you need to sort of run DOSBox to get them to work, there's been a lot of work to try and get that available. Cool, so I can have 3 bullets. I'm glad of that, to be honest. I like the fact that there is this sort of community that want to not only still be able to play their old games, but to also be able to say to people, hey, have you ever checked this out? If you don't already watch it, I do recommend watching James Recommends. It's a series by James Portnoy from the Extra Credits guys, and then once a week on a Friday he will recommend a game. It's usually an older title, sometimes it's a newer title, but essentially it's a game that he finds quirky or interesting. And there's, you know, I like the fact that we can live in an age where we can say to someone, oh, you haven't played this game and it's 20 years old, but here's a link, you can find it here, go play it. I also find it annoying that there are games that are old classics that you can't get so much. I'm very annoyed that you can't really legitimately get a hold of a copy of Warcraft 2. Blizzard don't seem to sell that, which is annoying. Grim Fandango was pretty much legendarily known for being almost impossible to get anywhere. You couldn't buy it, and even if you could, it wouldn't really run very well on a modern PC, even trying to emulate a DOS environment or a Windows 95 environment. I'm just going to run through these, screw them all. I knew there was that help at the end. But Grim Fandango, thankfully, they're re-releasing on Vita, and hopefully PC as well, because I have always wanted to play that game. Commander Keen is still sold by 3D Realms, I believe, so you can still purchase that. But it does seem a little bit weird to me that I think there should be some sort of statute of limitations on older games, you know. If they're, say, 20 years old, just release the code for God's sake. Let people do what they want with them. Free the games! Let's start a movement, guys. Free the game. Hashtag free the games. We're going to start a revolution today. Just going to make Duke smoke. Ha 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 ha. yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what you guys think. It'll be interesting to hear what games you guys played as well. I mean, I can't, dear God, I can't be the oldest one here right now. Please tell me there are some old people watching this. It's not all Hearthstone teenagers, dear God. But maybe I've piqued your interest. I don't know. I'm certainly enjoying playing this, you know. It's good to just remind yourself how far we've come in gaming. We really have. In a short space of time. This game is 23 years old. In that short space of time, we've gone from this being the pinnacle of an action shooter to something like, you know, Call of Duty and things like that. Well, you can argue whether or not Call of Duty is the pinnacle, but you know what my opinion of it is. But the advancements you can make in such a short space of time, I just find it incredible. And even in the short space of time between, you know, between games. So I will cover Duke Nukem 2, don't worry. But you'll be able to see the difference between that game and this one, and even that, which is a year or two. I think that one came out in '93. Is incredible. It's just such a marked difference between the two of them. In you know, just a couple of years. Nowadays, I think we have reached a point where graphics aren't going to get much better too quickly. The differences just aren't as noticeable anymore. I do believe this is the final level? No, it's not. I thought I might have actually completed the episode on her play session, but that's fine. If I manage to do that, if, say, I get to the hub world and I see it's the last level, I might as well kill Proton and finish it for you. You'll notice I've skipped through a lot of the dialogue, because, to be honest, the dialogue is... it's not really worth it. Story wasn't really the focus, after all. It was essentially, give me a lot of stuff to shoot, and enjoy it in the sort of Contra vein. Oh, forget that. Oop. Platforming skills. Okay. I will be putting in the description where you can find it. I got this version on Steam as part of a sale. It came with Duke Nukem 3D Megaton Edition, Duke Manhattan Madness? I think that's what it's called. As well as Duke 2. If it is available anywhere else, I will let you know if it's on GOG or anything like that. Excellent. Whoa, falling down. Still need the green key. All planned. Cool. Break through this wall. General rule of any of these games, if there's enemies, you haven't been there yet. That's why it's a good idea to clear them all out. Nope, been there. Up we go. Oh, bugger. So pro. God man, the sound effects. What do we do without sound cards? Break through the bridge, fall down. Atomic health for no reason. Oh no, we're nowhere near the end of the episode. I've just remembered what else happens in this game. Conveyor belts. Okay, I will get to the end of this. Oh no! I will get to the end of this level, and we'll call it there. But I hope you've enjoyed watching it. I've certainly enjoyed playing it, and to be honest, I'm going to stop recording and I'm going to carry on playing, because I'm having way too much fun reliving the past. Okay, there's an item I need before I can continue in this section. I need some grippy claw kind of things. I'll show you what I mean. Bugger. I need to leave enough room to jump across. Excellent. Oh. Shut up, Proton. There we go. through the mines, ain't no thang. Which means I can use this hand to extend the bridge across there. And we can continue on our merry way. Cool, and that'll be the end of the level. Bugger. Getting quite low to dying. Oh, damn skills. Launch the rockets. Get the green key. And we are at liberty to proceed through to the end of the level. Oops, that was stupid. Cool. Episode complete. Oh, whoa, let's not die now. Oh, bugger, if I die now, I will have fucked up horrendously. Oh, man. Tell you one thing, though. Starting to hurt my fingers. My control and alt key dexterity is lessened. So there we go, that's Duke Nukem 1, released in 1991 by Apogee Entertainment, Apogee Software I should say. Hope you enjoyed watching it, I certainly enjoyed playing it. Do watch the rest of the videos, look forward to making more of these. Comment if you liked it, click the like button and subscribe, and check out some of our other videos. And I will see you guys very soon. Take care.